hope she comes in and
Must
smacks
not.
you in the back of the head.
With a
She
pan.
won't. He won't. Three, two, one. Welcome to Cue the Mic.
Thank you all for coming. This is what? What am I supposed to say?
You just said action when he said welcome to Cue the Mic. So it's
well,
fine.
that is. We're kind of a high production outfit here now anymore. So doing these three phase
So
Okay.
professional.
window. So anyway, everybody, welcome to Cue the Mic. I'm Randy Twyford. That's Darren Worth and Emma. Emma, what do you have to say about bringing in the new year today?
Nothing. It's cold
Well,
outside.
what episode is this?
Okay.
What episode?
Okay. Cut.
Episode-
We're cut.
episode-
We are cutting here. What the fuck?
Yeah, we're all.
We're all fucked up, Randy. How about
Yeah.
I say welcome to Cue the Mic? You say welcome, everybody.
And then Emma jumps in and says,
And then maybe let Emma jump in.
Episode 40.
yeah.
So, Emma,
Yeah.
what do you have to
All
say
right,
about the new
let's
year?
start all over again. Start all over again.
Okay, let's start all over again. Are you hitting record again, or are we just editing
No,
this out?
we're just. I'll just edit it out, or I'll keep it. Put it at the end as
Okay.
a bonus.
All right.
Okay. Ready? 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Cue the Mic.
I'm Randy Twyford and Darren Worth and Emma, and we'd like to welcome you all to Cue the Mic.
Episode 40. We're almost to a whole year, guys.
40.
Mm-hmm.
That almost feels like a milestone.
It kind of
I
is.
think it is. I think, yeah. And
Did you guys
have been doing this every week.
Every week.
Mhm.
Every week for
That's-
40 weeks, yeah. Except
That's
for last week was my first week missing, and I didn't go back and see.
No,
Were you guys dog
Wasn't
cussing
your
me?
first week? Was not your first week missing.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
And-
my second week missing. Sorry. But did you dog cuss me? I didn't go listen to the episode. I've been
Not
sitting
very
busy. I
bad.
haven't had a chance.
We said a
Not
couple
very
of
bad.
things, but nothing too hurtful.
no,
Nothing
you
too
should have
hurtful.
felt
That's
just
okay.
a tingle in your back
Mhm.
instead of just giant knives, you know.
Interesting. So what I missed, Randy, where are we at on this pop-up? Everybody always wants to
Yeah,
know
let's
about
hear it.
this pop-up.
Well, the
Where you
pop-up
at
is
in the process?
popping. We're starting to get several reservations in. Starting to get a little nervous. Emma, what the hell are you doing?
My dog's trying to walk around a cord right now, and I can't deal with it.
Oh. Anyway, we're starting to
It's a
get some
classic dog.
reservations in, which, 3 weeks out, you wouldn't get very many. 2 weeks out, we're starting to roll in, and we're starting to get more and more in. Surprising thing is the product mix that we're getting. We're starting to get more people. Vast majority of people are ordering rib plates instead of brisket and pork steak. I don't think we have one pork steak plate order, but a lot of people wanting to order ribs, wanting to try ribs. So, and
Wow.
but every
Are you-
order that we've got, they want bread pudding.
Well,
Interesting.
yeah.
So we're the
Who
week
wouldn't?
ahead of time. So I'm procuring, like that word, pretty impressive. Procuring more product for this week and getting my staff all ready to go, and we'll be ready to roll.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
again,
so
Saturday-
are you still at 6:00, Randy, or you move it off?
Yeah,
or no?
we
talked
decided
about
since we've done all the publicity and everything, we're going to stay at 6:00. So
6:00. Yeah, I saw the sheet on it, and I said 6:00. Hell, Sherry and I eat at 4:30.
well, I know.
So I brought that up
Not-
to Randy, but that's fine. It's a special event. It's going to be a
Yeah.
romantic
And-
dinner.
It's a Saturday, and not very many people eat at 4:30. I think 6 is a good time. It's a normal time to
so
eat dinner.
from 6
Okay.
to 9
Okay.
on this coming Saturday, January 27th, at the Twisted Tree Music and Event Center, and some clarifications on the online ordering. The online tickets, when you buy a ticket online, that gets you your meal. There's been some questions on whether that gets you entry into the event. No, that gets your meal, the music, and then of course your drinks are on your own. So some people have thought, well, that only gets them into the event, but no, that gets you into the event. The music's free. So,
Interesting.
So a little clarity.
Yeah, I've
there,
done a lot of. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward. I wish we were going to be in town because we'd make the road trip down. Just because I'd love to be in the kitchen just to watch you freaking out. But,
no,
he's gonna be cool as a cucumber.
I'd be your
thank
calming.
you very much,
I'd
Emma.
be your calming sense. So I'll be like
cool as a cucumber.
I'll be the little guy on your shoulder.
You know what we ought to do?
We'll FaceTime.
Oh God!
You know what we ought to do is take my camera and mount it in the kitchen, and just do a live stream.
Why wouldn't you do that?
You could.
I don't know. I just thought of it. Just do a live stream.
I watch so many TikTok live streams of breakfast cooks. I mean, it's just amazing. I used to watch that Chef Kevin he was the Italian guy, but I don't think he can hold a job. I watched him at his Italian restaurant, and he was doing all the prep and all that stuff, and then he must have got canned from there or they shut down that restaurant. And then he went to a food truck. And then I saw he was somewhere else the other day. I'm like, God, dude can't hold a job.
What's his name?
I quit watching him, but
Chef Kevin.
Kevin. But I watch Matt Tutal. I watch Dylan Longton out of New York. They're both really kick-ass breakfast cooks. Because I have a vested interest coming forward in breakfast cooking.
We might actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
That might be interesting to do a live stream of us in the kitchen.
Just you on the cutting board.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think even if there's chaos and cussing, I think it would make for good video. I really do, Randy. I think that's a great idea.
Now, I wouldn't cuss around the lawless girls that are going to be helping me.
Megan
will probably have a club there just beating the shit out of me from time to time. Randy, fucking straighten up. You know, they've already told me that.
Well, that's good.
I'm not gonna be spending all my time in the kitchen.
Ooh.
That I'll be spending part of my time outside with the customers. So
yeah,
well,
because
you should.
They'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As long as they can cut brisket and cut ribs.
They've been doing it for 14 years, so
right. That's right. That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
So we're going to be moving. We're going to be moving along on it. So
that's good. We look forward to the recap.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next episode,
and we'll see how that went because people will see how successful you were doing it and whether it was a good idea or not.
Or whether it's just
the
complete
exposure
disaster.
you got and what, or it was a complete disaster. You just never know, right?
Well, go ahead.
Well, it kind of leads me into a question. I know we kind of talked about cooking and whatever, but so we had a question, from Toby Antonson, and he had said, "Hey, what's that magic equation to booking events and maximizing profit on the food truck?" Right? And I'll give you a little story about our food truck. So our food truck has always been. It doesn't do all private events. I'm going to guess it does 30% private events, which are like guaranteed money events, and 70% of what we do is get invited to a neighborhood or a car dealership, or we do a lot of vending. One of the things that we lock in like 10 weekends over the summer for Saturday and Sunday, sometimes Friday night, at a softball association. So they don't have a concession stand. We're actually a concession stand. So not only are we doing barbecue and things like that, but we're also selling candy bars and Gatorade and pop and hot chocolate when it's cold. Things like that. And those are like super great events. So he asked, what's that magic equation? And we started talking about, our focus this year and we're meeting about this week is we're not going to book a car dealership 3 months in advance. We're going to work on booking private events, guaranteed private events, and we can talk about what makes that up in our world, your world, Randy. And then if we're going to book out, and then when we get a week out, we're going to start, if our week isn't full, then we're going to start looking for the car dealership or whatever to go make things work instead of the truck just sitting. So anyway, I'm not sure, for us, I think we charge for a weekday event, we kind of have a $750 minimum, and I think that moves up to like $1,250, I believe. Emma, you may be able to remember that, on the weekend for us to say, hey, I'm going to come do a private event for you. Now, part of that is, there's music festivals and stuff that are going to be good, that aren't, nobody's guaranteeing you money there. You're vending, in essence, based on the come. But I'm talking about a food truck event that's almost like a catered event where, one person's going to buy everything, or they're going to guarantee you so much money. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Randy, tell us about your structure on the food truck and what you think. What is that magic equation?
What we do is, because when we first started out, we would do everything under the sun, and we've realized we were losing our butts going to them and doing maybe $300, $400, and it's like we have to start to get a minimum. And what I call it is separating the men from the boys, and we still to this day get a lot of, okay, we're going to have a get together this Sunday, and sometimes even for private events, we're going to have people over, and we'd like to have the food truck, and we have $1,000 minimum for 2 hours, and we feel like that covers our prep time, cleanup time, and our time there on there. And what's that saying is that the customer has to buy $1,000 worth of product or more during that time period. Now, one of the questions that comes up is, what happens if they don't sell we don't sell $1,000? Well, when I book the event, I'll have a contact person, and I come right out and tell them, now you're going to be the one responsible if it doesn't come up with $1,000 of making up the difference. So if it comes up we only sell $700, you will be the one making up the $300 difference. And I get confirmation.
Right. So Randy, how often does that scare the customer away from, hey, well, yeah, I can't take on that risk?
Well, it does some, but then on the other hand, it makes it better that you're not going to an event and only doing $500 worth of sales, and you've got $1,000, or you've got your expenses, and or you could have done a better event where somebody could have guaranteed you your $1,000, and but yeah, it separates the men from the boys. Is my favorite saying on that.
Yeah, and I think $1,000. I think that's probably the market. The market may be different depending on where you're at. But
sure.
What you really have to do from a business standpoint, like a restaurant, you have to make decisions sometimes: is how much you're paying in rent, how much you're paying in utilities, how much is it going to cost you to buy propane for the truck, how much is the food going to cost, how much is the labor going to cost. Now, if you don't sell the food, can you reuse it? That type of thing, and you come up with what your minimum is, because your minimum may be $500, your minimum may be $750, but I think you have to understand every bit of cost down to, hey, I spent $3 worth of diesel fuel or $10 worth of diesel fuel and $8 worth of propane going out there and sitting and twiddling my thumb, right?
Well,
now,
and then I'll get somebody come to me and another food truck, and they'll go, hey, have you been busy? Yeah, we've been, we're usually fairly busy. Did you hear anything about that event at so-and-so park, at a park event? Yeah. Well, we did it. How was it? It sucked. How much did you sell? And I hate to even ask people how much they sell, because I found out what the Kuna Ice people sell. You know, she sells the shaved ice things. You know,
Yeah.
what she sells, her margins are so frigging high. I mean,
Yeah.
she makes, I mean, her margin is just, or would that be margins are low? Because she makes just a lot of money on each snow cone. So she may be able to sell $500 worth of stuff and make $400 on it. You know, her profit margins could be a lot higher as of compared to ours. So I don't like getting into it, but some of them will say, well, they just didn't have any people show up. And that's because nobody was committed to that event. And, you know, they were wanting a food truck there because they thought it was neat. And, you know, they see it on TV, and that's a cute thing to do. But nobody wants to get behind the program. And, you know, I vividly remember a block party. We do a lot of block parties over in Springfield, and where they'll take and a lot of them will tie them in with their neighborhood meetings. You know, they'll have their neighborhood annual meetings, usually in the fall or in the summertime, and they'll have a DJ come in, and they'll have the bouncy houses and all that stuff, and they'll have us come in. And when I show up to a neighborhood and I see signs on trees and signs on street signs and stuff promoting that we're going to be there, I know it's going to be a good one. I know it's typically going to be a pretty good one, but they've also already committed to that $1,000. Now, there's another food truck in Springfield that I'm good friends with. They have a contract, and that's one. And it just kind of dawned on me. He gave me that contract, and I really need to get that contract out and get it tooled to me and get people to sign it. I've never ever had anybody give me any problems with not meeting minimums or any of that stuff on that I would need a contract. So I like to believe a handshake's worth 1,000 is worth a lot, but one of these days it's going to kick me in the ass.
Bite you in the butt.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've never had any problems with it. And typically what'll happen is, say an event's at $700 and it's getting towards the end of the 2 hours. We're at an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. I'll run down instead of being at, going at the end of 2 hours and go, hey, you came up $300 short, pony up $300. Who's going to do that? I just don't feel like that's right in a way. I feel like they should have the opportunity to buy the product. So what I'll do is I'll go to them at like an hour and 45 in or whatever, and I'll say, hey, we're at 700, and you know we got to be at $1,000. And they're like, yeah, I remember that. I'm good. So maybe you want to talk to some of the people in the neighborhood that if they want to come and get some stuff for supper tonight, we can put stuff into go containers and hook them up with that. And I'd like to say 90% of the time that's what happens, but it's 100% of the time that's what'll happen is people, and normally we'll end up selling more than $1,000 because they'll come and get a couple racks of ribs and some potato casserole and everything for supper or for the next day's meal. So I've never had anybody balk on it. Now there's been some corporate events where we have the $1,000 minimum and they've came up short, and it's like, business is business, and they wrote me a check.
Here's your bill. Yeah. And I think I'm learning because we've always had that 2-tiered, and I'm not sure why. I think it's because we felt like we didn't want to tie up a truck, so we've never done the 2-hour thing. And I think that's a good. I'm gonna steal that little tidbit about the tidbit about the $1,000 for 2 hours, trying to get these guys to thing. The other thing, COVID made that neighborhood visit like very popular. And I think when I talk to the food trucks or I see the other food trucks back and forth in Des Moines, they're talking about how lucrative these small town visits are. So instead of, we're in a big metro, so there's a lot of neighborhoods, but man, it seems like every time we go up to Slater, there's a little event center up there that she invites trucks in. I mean, we just slay it up there, and I get a little, I think we could slay it more because, it's a way for somebody to eat that food that normally doesn't want to drive half hour, 45 minutes to go do it. They can have it on a weekday. The thing that makes me mad and that we have to change from our food truck perspective is we tend to go up and want to sell sandwiches and stuff. And I'm like, get that family meal for $4. Get the pound of brisket and a quart of potatoes and get that family meal that raises that, up in that $40, $50 ticket range that they can just come grab it and let them order that in advance if they want. And so we know they're guaranteed their meal instead of just trying to sell a sandwich at a time. And hey, the little kid doesn't need a sandwich. You got to think about the kids. Should you have chicken tenders and that type of stuff? So we just personally have to do a better job, but like for anything like us, the food truck is just a side gig for us. It's not Sherry's always wanting to get rid of the damn thing. She goes, that's the biggest pain in the ass in the world. I'm like, do you have to work on the food truck? Well, no. Then okay, well then don't worry about it. As long as it makes money, it makes money. It's marketing, whatever.
What was her maiden name? I didn't know whether it was Gregory. I didn't know whether because I got somebody else that I hear that from too, But, and you say that, you want to get the $40 package and stuff because they're going to stop at Hy-Vee and pick up a $40 package to bring home for supper.
Mm-hmm.
So they might as well get it from you as to get it from Hy-Vee is my point.
Right. And, funny, something totally side note, Randy. Funny story. Emma's going to blush, right? We're at a birthday party last night, okay? And I'm not really drinking anymore, very little anyway. So I'm drinking the ice water, and they're all having it's a 50th, 60th birthday party, and all of a sudden my buddy Brian, he starts rubbing up on his wife, and she's like, okay, you get 3 minutes. And I'm like, are you guys all related?
Yeah.
It's just funny. Funny side note when you talked about being related.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as they get older, you get 3 minutes. Funny story.
I don't think Emma's got it.
No, I got it. It's just like it was so
She's trying
delayed.
to figure out. It was so delayed. She's trying to figure out what
it was so delayed to the related comment. Like we started a whole nother conversation essentially, and then you're like, wait a minute, I have this funny joke.
He said it's a sidebar. It was a sidebar.
Like, the sidebar, it had passed. Like you should have said, sidebar, but like he really should have said it immediately. And then we started talking about Hy-Vee, so I was like, where is this gonna go? We're talking about Hy-Vee. It's gonna make me blush. And then you said that, and I'm like, well, that wasn't as funny as I thought it was gonna be. I mean, it was funny, but
back on topic. There's another food truck. Back on topic. There's another food truck that I'm good friends with, and she'll go to some of these small towns of an evening. And there's been a few times I'm like,
I love that. I love the of an evening. That's just so Twyford like. We'll say that once in a while in the house. Of an evening. I said of an evening. But she goes, hey, Randy.
But she'll go to some of these small towns of an evening. What's wrong with of an evening? What the fuck?
I have never heard that.
Evening.
It's a Randyism. You've said it for years and years and years. I've never heard one other person in the world say it.
Really?
But you say it. It's a Randyism. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But anyway,
of an evening.
She'll go to some of these small towns of an evening. Sorry, and I'll ask her. I'll say, "What do you do very good there?" And she'll go, "Yeah, sell the shit out of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's those people coming home from work wanting to pick up something to go home, in these small towns.
Yeah.
And she promotes that she's going to be there and that. So, and another thing you said, that one town they'll have some food trucks. I think one of the biggest things people get nervous about is having a competitive food truck, not the same type of food, but another truck of a different, like a pizza truck or a Mexican truck there. I think, if anything, it's good to have another truck there, just because it gives variety for the potential customer, especially in an instance like they're in a small town wanting to pick up some of that evening business, because that way you've got they can pick up some. If somebody doesn't like barbecue, you've got another option for them to get. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, my biggest problem with them whole visits is you almost need to reach the outskirts. So you want to be a half hour away, right? You want to get out and about. Well, the problem is, we're driving an iron wheeled manure spreader. I told somebody that the other day. They wanted me to come up. I got them, I got the message on Facebook or something about, hey, we'd like you to come up and do this town festival, whatever. And it was in Alden, which was like an hour and 15 minutes away. And I said, dude, I got to tell you, if you've ever driven a food truck, you've driven an iron wheeled manure spreader, bud.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd be better off just to call the tow truck company and have it haul it up there for me and drop it off and wait there and pay the $1,000 in towing fees, because that's about what it is. And, we've talked about, do you switch to a trailer? But, there's something about a food truck.
Yeah.
And there's something about, if you got a trailer, you got to have a truck, and then you got to have somebody that, a lot of people, I should say, almost everybody can drive a food truck, but it's not necessarily the case. Ours has got some bumps and bruises on it because of that.
Yeah.
But a lot better than if somebody's trying to back a trailer into a spot. Now, if it was me running around and I was on that food truck, I'd probably have a trailer, because I'd have a gooseneck trailer that I could get that in. And
yeah, you could put it in anywhere.
And I could put it in anywhere, but not everybody's going to be able to do that. So, but overall, to answer the question, there is no magic formula, but I think the answer is to get some sort of minimum. Try and book as many private events as you can. Don't overlook the town visit, as an opportunity, especially if there's no restaurants in that town. And you got to be cognizant, if there's one or two restaurants in that town and you're coming to that town, you're probably going to steal some revenue from that other restaurant. So you got to be cognizant of that and be good corporate neighbors. Don't park up outside there, even though small towns probably don't have a lot of ordinances about parking a food truck. Don't go park outside their front door.
But if you want to get some ordinances in that town, fuck around with them, and you'll get some ordinances, or you'll get thrown out of town, and there won't be any food trucks in there.
Right. So anyway, I think I'm not sure there's a magic bullet there, but I think there is some good advice. I'm going to take Randy's advice on the 2-hour $1,000 thing and just kind of run with that on everything. And
stay with it.
And stick with it. And I like the idea of, it's different if it's you. Like, so I'm not out on the food truck, Randy. You're out on the food truck. You can Rico Suave them and walk in and smooze them and say, hey, you got another $200 here, whatever. I can't see our food truck going out and kind of, younger people don't like that confrontation, even though it doesn't have to be confrontation. Hey, we cut a deal. We cut a deal. So they don't like the confrontation. So even though it's not really confrontation, it is, in essence, you're asking somebody to live up to their part of the deal.
Well, and when we have events like this where they have minimums and stuff, there's times because a lot of times they'll be on a Saturday afternoon and stuff. There's a lot of times I really don't want to go out on them, but I feel like I have to go out on them just because, so there isn't any bullshit that happens, And again, the whole Rico Suave, I can say, hey, like I said, I'm really torn on a contract of putting a contract together and, emailing them a contract and having them mail it back to me. So everything's down in black and white. But I mean, I don't know. One of these days I'm going to get it shoved up my ass. But until then, I probably won't do anything.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It makes my mind think, because I think all the time. My wife told me that last night. She's like, can you just quit thinking about shit? And I'm like, I love to think about shit, right? I'm just all over the place. I'm thinking about so much shit right now that I can't, it's hard to get focused on one thing because I'm thinking about so much shit. I mean, for instance, graduation packages. Okay. People are calling about they're going gangbusters.
Are they really?
I'm like, it's January.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
anyway,
I got one of our emails.
So
no kidding.
Already. I got the the one I forwarded to you for the Henri chicken about graduation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I've been thinking about. So we put together this graduation package, never really got promoted. So I'm like, the ornery chicken, I'm like, okay, we're going to sell chicken tenders and we're going to sell chicken sandwiches. But then I'm like, what do you do for the crafty mac? Nobody wants to spend $60-$70 on a gallon of mac and cheese. And I'm like, what if I do a combo? And you guys tell me if this is a good idea or not. We could take any one of our macs, okay, and serve like a child, I want to say a kid portion, but a kid portion, we're going to put in an 8-ounce or a 12-ounce soup bowl or a soup paper container, right? Kind of like a mini pint or quart. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking we do individual macs because we could do those for $3.99 all day long with like a chicken bacon ranch or whatever. Do individual macs along with individual chicken sandwiches. So you come in, here's a chicken sandwich. We can do a chicken sandwich for probably $2.99. I can do an individual mac for $2.99 or $3.99. So now all of a sudden you got $6 wrapped up in, hey, a sandwich and a mac. And if somebody wants 2 sandwiches or somebody wants 2 macs, and we package them individually. I mean, the sandwiches we're just going to put in a tray. But the individual macs, since we have our what we call the unicorn catering box, which is the answer to everything, we could put in, I went out and I can put 50 of those individual macs in one box and put it in an insulated cooler thing, and it would hold for hours.
Right.
And so people could just kind of put a few out into a chafing dish if they wanted to keep them warm, but then they would have, here, do you want a chicken bacon ranch? Do you want a pizza mac?
So
do you want whatever? And we do these individual, instead of, and everybody would get their individual bowl or their individual paper cup and a nice sized portion, rather than having just a plate where mac and cheese is sitting there drying out.
So kind of like what we did. So kind of like what we did when we did the nurses catering for Child Serve a couple years ago, but like smaller, where there's. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. What did we do? Because my memory
we gave them. We gave them the small portion of mac. We made like so many individual crafted macs in those bowls, and then I just set them out, and people could grab and go.
And I would probably make it. I wouldn't do it and maybe I get a smaller bowl for it. Maybe I get a, because right now we're running those black bowls for anybody that's in the restaurant business, and the black containers with the clear lids. Those have come down so dramatic in price.
Plastic?
I mean, I'm running.
Really?
Well, they're plastic, but they're the black bottom with the clear lid.
And they're reusable.
Those have gotten so damn cheap. And,
Really?
and I think the reusable part of it kind of does the perceived value. But those things, I mean, they're like 15 and 16 cents a piece now for a 24 or 32-inch container.
That's kind of huge for you, because weren't they kind of expensive when we started?
Oh, they were 50, 60 cents.
Yeah.
And now those things have come down so dramatic in price, but they got a nice lid that seals. So we're in the process right now in the restaurant of switching all our pork deli tainers over to that stuff. And hopefully that price holds down. I'm thinking about filling a warehouse full just to protect myself a little bit. But
not a bad idea.
You can't. I mean, think about I could get a little we have a 16-ounce. I could probably get a little 12-ounce or 8-ounce individual container that here, and even if you put in that black container, let's say we're at a graduation package and they're towards the end, and somebody senses the mac, you walk inside, you throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and you got a hot mac.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Or you
like
got leftovers
the
here.
perceived
Send this
value
home.
of
Send
it.
this home. So, right. So I'm trying to figure out, like the chicken sandwich. Do you leave them open or do you wrap them? I mean, they look better if you leave them open, but if they're wrapped, they're going
Bro,
to
and
hold
if you
warmer.
wrap them, but wouldn't they also get soggier? Because all of that,
Well, yes
like,
and no.
the steam
Our
will just...
chicken, but our chicken sandwich can hold up to anything. You know that, Emma.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about the chicken. I'm worried about the bread. No one likes a soggy bun.
Oh,
It's-
the bun, a steamed bun. There's nothing better than a steamed bun.
No, there is not, and it's not a steamed bun. Steamed buns, like my bun sticks to my chicken weird, and then it's all like odd. I know, I'm all pass. I wouldn't take it.
You want it open
You know what I'm
face.
saying?
You want it
I
open
wouldn't-
face where the chicken
I wouldn't
sandwich is
want
sitting
it
in the
open
bottom of the
face
shaper,
normally.
and that bottom bun's and
No.
that bottom bun's hard, and the top
No.
one's
I wouldn't
soft.
want that. I'm just saying that wouldn't that be? I like it when my bun is just nice and normal.
Or do I just make it easy on me and don't assemble the sandwiches and just put a bunch of chicken patties in a pan and you put it on your own bun?
Yeah, because some people don't even want it as a sandwich. That's not a terrible idea, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
And it would hold better.
Especially with that chicken, people doing the healthy stuff and things,
Yeah.
Well, we could throw
mean,
some grilled
if they're
chicken
gonna-
in there too.
Yeah, if they're gonna splurge on their calories and have fried chicken, they might as well just add the bun at that point too. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't really think I really don't think there's a wrong answer. I think there could be a lot of trials, and I don't want to say errors, but like, hell, you could do it. You could try all sorts of different stuff and figure out what's best.
well, no, I need to run with one because people want their damn graduation catering menu now,
Well, yeah,
right?
and guess that's fair.
I
Tis the
can't
season.
believe they're wanting them already.
Oh, it
moms
wasn't
are crazy.
January 2nd. January 2nd, you get and then you get all these moms planning, and they'll fret. But the problem is they're going to book something now, and they're going to change their order 50,000 fucking times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That or
That is a
or you're
problem.
going to get somebody that's going to call up on Saturday morning and say, "Hey, I got a graduation tomorrow for 250. Can you do that?" I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to get those too.
Sure.
And I'm not
There's
sure which
much
one's
in the
worse.
middle.
I'm not sure which.
Um,
I'm not sure which one's worse.
Well,
Yeah.
from the one that had to, I mean, not that I did very many, but when I had to talk to the customers, the ones that changed their orders a bunch is definitely way more stressful. Because then you got to keep track and you got to make sure that you're keeping on top of updating it. Because if,
Yeah.
you miss an update, that's just
Well, not
tedious.
if I can get my new computer software. If I can get my new computer software up and running.
Yeah, how's
we're-
that going?
We're looking to.
We haven't talked about it lately.
Well, we got. They did a bunch of the back end reporting and stuff. So I tried every day this week to populate menu items and things like that, so we could do some good, solid end-to-end testing. And I got about 3 menu items added and one package, and just I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, it's January. We need to be slow, but we're not slow. I mean, we had a huge catering week. I mean, huge. I mean, we were catering 250 here and 150 here. And I mean, shit, we were running 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 caterings a day out. And
That's
it's
really
just
interesting.
stupid. I mean,
Well,
it's
and,
crazy.
Especially
I
since
think,
like
I
nobody,
think it was so
feel like nobody
cold.
was working. Yeah, I didn't even like
Right.
nobody was really in the office, which is at least as far as I could tell,
And
or
for
schools,
us-
which is
Yeah.
just kind of
and-
surprising.
now for us, which is, I mean, much smaller scale, but normally we aren't doing jack this time of year. Last week we had 2 caterings, which is more than what we normally do. But then this week, I've got to pull in a bunch of guys, some of my help in. We've had some big caterings come in, and let alone our pop-up on the weekend. I mean, I've got I think 6 caterings this week, which is a lot for us, So I'm going to have to work.
You're
this
going
week.
to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard
Focus.
time
Yeah.
recording this. We're going to have to figure out that recording schedule.
Toby, he had some good questions. I talked to him on the phone. He called me up and he had some good questions. But yeah, the whole minimums and all that stuff, you got to get on that. And if you don't, you're going to get nickel dime to death. And and you got to be willing to say, okay, here's what we're going to do, and stick with it. Because once you start bending, you're going to get bent over backwards. Or forwards.
Get bent over backwards, yeah.
Or forwards.
Interesting.
Oh, Darren, you know what event you should reach out and try to get your truck at? This year is
the Hinterland or what?
It's sold out. 3 days.
I was thinking about that this morning.
It went viral. So this is probably going to be its most successful year. It sold out as 3-day packages.
Where's that at?
St.
Is that
Charles.
down like St. Charles? St. Charles.
Yeah. It sold out in the pre-sale day. They sold out of their 3-day packages, which means they're going to have people camping all weekend. There's a free shuttle from Des Moines. So I got tickets, so I'm going to be there all 3 days. They had last year when I went, it was insane. They had their food trucks had all of them had just absurd lines. There's going to be thousands of people there.
What's the date on that thing?
I think it's August 2nd through the 4th. Let me double check. And I know I said it last year too, but this year is going to be, they have one of the greatest lineups right now, probably some of the most popular artists they could have. It is the 2nd to the 4th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll send a message to, I'll write it down myself and call them because that's how that's going to work, I guarantee. But
hey, speaking of viral,
yeah,
if all of our listeners would help out, I've got a new post out on TikTok, a new video, and it's it's not a mukbang or anything like that. It's a guy that Mr. Food PR. He did a review of our ribs when I was down there, our baby back ribs. He does a nice review of them. So if you go out to Twyford BBQ on, you can.
Did you?
What?
Did you post it or did he post it?
We posted it. It's on our TikTok account.
Okay, so did you give him the ribs and have him do a review?
What's that, Darren?
Did you hire the influencer to do the review, or was it just a random
No,
review?
he just did it on his own. He was down at our place. That's when we were down south.
Oh, okay. Because we've been talking a lot about that.
No.
Local
He was
influencer.
He did it for. He came by the restaurant when we were down south, and he liked our ribs and stuff. And the other day, he just sent me that video, and I asked him. I said, "Do you mind if I use that?" And he goes, "No." And so we posted it.
Does he post permission on? Yeah, does he post on Instagram or anything too?
Yeah, Mr. Food PR.
Okay, that's the one. His TikTok just looks.
But I've got it on my TikTok also.
Yeah, I just reposted it on Cue the Mic spot.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, cool.
I'll share it on.
Yeah, that whole viral thing just amazes me. It seems like if you try and make something viral, you don't have a chance.
And then
it's like, what
you don't want
that go viral?
Then if you just go, fuck it.
It's all just luck. It's all just luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more you try, the less likely you are. That's why Luke went viral, because he just posted a really dumb video. Of him throwing
and it was a dumb video that was my idea, that I shot the video and gave him to post.
I didn't want to.
It's funny talking about Luke. So as we move on to our AI segment of the show,
right?
Because more and more. I wrote a promissory note for a loan. I did an amortization schedule for a loan. I wrote a will on AI this week.
Really?
Just because people know I'm on AI. So hey, can you write me a will? Sure. Right? But AI wouldn't write a will. AI wouldn't write the will. But then I asked it questions about what are the great elements of a will, and it
And it'll
pretty much
answer.
wrote the will for me.
My AI won't give somebody like jokes to roast another person. My dad, when he passes in a long time, he wants his funeral to be a roast where we just roast him, and he typed in like roast whatever, like jokes for a roast or whatever for a funeral, and AI was like, that is not a way to grieve. And they're like, we will not do that.
Huh.
Because it has
Well,
boundaries.
then don't say, all you got to do is funeral and say, hey, find a way to roast a 65-year-old retired school administrator. You just got to start.
Yeah.
If it says no, you ask it a different way. And so
maybe they'll just say cremation.
Okay.
One at a time.
I think it was just like the whole roast. It was like, write me roast. And they were like, that's just not very nice.
Maybe they'll just say cremation. You know it?
No, so then you would ask the question.
That was funny.
Even
went right
though
over Z-Dub's head. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Right over my head. I would turn around and ask it the question. I would say that you're a professional comedian. Even though roasts are not appropriate at a funeral, if I were to roast somebody at a funeral, what would I do? And I'd roast, and the more information you get, because I guarantee. So we talk about Luke Darnell. So Luke is, a few weeks ago, came to me and he says, oh my God, I'm reading this book. It's so good. And I said, really, what's this book? And he goes, it's the E-Myth Revisited. And I'm like, wow, I read the E-Myth 25 years ago, right? Because that's what I used to do in corporate America when I was an up-and-comer in the corporate world. I spent a lot of time reading self-help, improvement, management books. I don't think I've ever read a fiction book in my life outside of elementary school. I'm just not a fiction guy. And so he's like, this book is great. And I'm digging through my closet in a box trying to find this E-Myth book. And I'm like, I'll just read it. He goes, yeah, there's just some updates to it that they've made. So last night I sat down and Sherry's watching football and we're getting ready to go to this party. And I'm like, I'm going to look up this E-Myth Revisited on the AI. And so I said, hey, can you give me a comprehensive summary with bullet points about the key points to the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, right? And it pops, if you're watching, it pops a whole page worth of stuff off about, and so this book, I pretty much read this book on one page. Okay, and so this is, and I'll send it to you, Randy. But this is my new way of reading, because people come up with management books all the time. Well, I ain't got time to listen to a damn book. But I'm going to do this same thing for books. And so I'm going to do one-page book summaries of management type books. So let me just read you some of this stuff, because it's crazy, because, and why it's crazy is I read this book 25 years ago, and I'm like, you would think I wrote this book. But I didn't write this book. I just adopted the principles from the book 25 years ago. Right?
Yeah. Okay. I was a little curious with where you were going to go with that.
Well, it's like, so this E-Myth was a big book. I didn't know how it helped form my career, but it did in a big way. And like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right. And it just, there's certain books that I read, and some of them I read multiple times back then, because when I started out in corporate America, if I would start like, man, my career's not going anywhere, I get down to the dumps, I would read a self-improvement book, and it would bring me right back. It would bring me right back. If I wasn't motivated to get done with a project, I'd read a book, and it would bring me right back. And so this is a very interesting thing, because I think it's super, and I'm going to be reading some of this stuff, but so this Michael Gerber says, it's about this Sarah who runs a pie making business, and she illustrates common challenges, misconception, and small ownership. But here's the detail of the key concepts. The entrepreneurial myth. Gerger begins by dispelling the myth that most people who start small business are entrepreneurs. He explains that many are technicians suffering from entrepreneurial seizure, meaning they're excellent at doing a job, but not necessarily at running a business that does a job. This misinterpretation leads them to open a business unprepared for the other roles they must fulfill. And so they talked about the three personalities of this business owner. You got the entrepreneur, the visionary dreamer, always look at the big picture, future possibilities. Okay, that's my job today. A day in the life of Darren is that. You have the manager, who's pragmatic and practical, focused on the order, planning, and day-to-day operations. And then you got the technician is the doer, who enjoys the process of the work, often the initial role the business owner identifies with, right? So you're good at making barbecue, right? You open a barbecue business. Well, you got to be visionary, right? So working on the business versus in the business is you need to work on your business, not just in it. It means stepping away from day-to-day tasks and focusing on the growth strategy, system development. The business development process outlines a process for developing a business that includes innovation, quantification, orchestration, encourages continuous improvement. The importance of the vision, they stress the importance of having a clear vision for your business. This vision should guide every decision, every action you make. But I think the most important key element of this book was the franchise prototype. The book suggests that every small business should be thought as a prototype for a franchise, even if there's no plans to franchise that business. This mindset encourages the creation of systems and processes that make the business efficient, scalable, and independent of any one person. And that last one is like nail on the head. Because
yes, exactly.
It's like we've built a huge barbecue business based upon, if I lose 10 people, okay, that's fine, because I can throw 10 more people into that position.
Exactly.
And because our processes are so regimented that some of them hurt, but you can still respond. Whereas if you only have one person that knows how to make biscuits and the guy or the gal that makes the biscuits leaves, you're out of the biscuit business.
You're out of the biscuit business.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and this was a small business. So this is very, I don't know, it's just very eye-opening to me that as listeners, if you're thinking about opening your own business, you got to figure out, how do you design a business that doesn't require you to be the worker all the time? Now, in a small business, you're still going to have to play all those roles, but you got to take time to improve the business. You got to take time to look at it from a higher level. And that's like when I go, people go, man, you go to Florida a lot. That's what I do. That when I'm in Florida, I am working on the business. I'm not repairing shit. I'm not dealing with problems. I am working on the business.
And you got to.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, send that to me when you get a chance.
I will.
So yeah, for our listeners, if you want to know Darren's methods, just read that book, or
just read that book,
ChatGPT.
or
what again was that?
The summary.
What again was the name of that book, Darren?
It was called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Now you're like me; I'll just send you the one-page summary, Randy.
And it'll be good enough.
I literally, I'm almost going to challenge myself to read a book a day. I'm going to read the cliff notes of one book.
Okay.
No, with doing the AI stuff.
No, what do you mean it defeats the purpose? Because what's the purpose of reading the book? To glean concepts that you can use to improve your business. I did this. One page right here, Emma. One page.
And AI's already gleaned it for you.
Now I know Michael didn't get any royalties off me buying his book. But maybe I'll buy the book and put it on the shelf.
So what did you tell AI to do
in it?
With the cliff notes
Darren,
in it.
Darren, what did you tell AI to do?
Well, here I'll tell you, Randy. Let me see. Can I switch over and will it allow me? Am I still on camera if I do this?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can share your screen. You won't. I think it'll take your head away. Yeah. I might be the only one to be able to do it, I guess.
Okay. Well, I said, can you summarize the book E-Myth Revisited? And so that it gave me an answer. And I said, more details, please. Okay, let's delve a little bit deeper into it, right? And it gave me this. So it's all in how you ask the question, right?
That's
It's all
just
in
on
how you
life.
ask the questions. And that's what I'm learning about AI is the more successful that you ask AI, the more detailed you are. So anytime you ask it something, you really should pat it on the back first, I call it. So if I'm
What do you mean?
if I'm going to ask an accounting question, I'm going to say, you're an expert restaurant accountant. And then I'm going to ask my question. So
I see what you're saying.
it puts them in the mood, I call it.
Okay.
Kind of strokes them a little bit. So you stroke
Weird.
them with the first.
Stop.
But no, but that's what you do, though.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Maybe stroking them isn't the word, but you kind of like,
No.
it's like me Randy going, I'm going to start out by asking Randy, man, you're a good-looking sumbitch. Now tell
Thank
me
you very
about
much.
what you do to keep your hair so beautiful and shiny, right? But so
Fulfilling.
you set them up
That's
first, and I'm telling you, this is what I'm learning
Can't
about
come.
asking AI.
Yeah, same
Is
deal.
you have to set the scene. You have to tell them that, hey, you're a restaurant expert, or hey, you're an editor in chief, or hey, you're
Tell it what it's going to
a
be.
nationwide food reviewer.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is neat.
Yeah. So I got to figure out now. I these books, I used to write them all down. Gus Pagonis was another one. I have another book. That's the one I need to look up because I remember Gus Pagonis. He was a general in the Desert Storm. I can't remember the name of his book, but Good to Great. Just $1 trillion coach. Now I got all kinds of books I need to read summaries on.
So you're gonna spend your
So
Sunday
maybe-
doing?
No, fuck no. I gotta go over and drill a hole through a wall to get a walk-in cooler condenser to drain because it was draining into a gutter, and then they pushed snow in front of the gutter, which froze the gutter up all the way to the damn roof. And so now the walk-in cooler isn't draining the condensation pan, so it's dripping in the cooler. So I had to tear it all apart, and now I got to go drill a hole to make a different way to get this condensation drain to drain out. And then I got to come back, and I got to. I'm cooking dinner tonight for 12 people. I'm
Ooh, what are you making?
a homemade beef stew with homemade
Ooh,
biscuits.
that sounds good.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to do some cream chicken over biscuits too.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So I'm
Can
going
Randy
to
and I
roast
come
some
over?
chicken. Oh, sure. Yeah. My biscuit game is, I made biscuit. I'm working on biscuits for a reason, but I'm trying to perfect biscuits, and I couldn't
Is it for
get
the
my
honor
biscuits
chicken?
brown enough on top. And so I went to Steph over at Porky Butts, and she's like baker extraordinaire. She worked in she was a baker for 2 years, and old Buzz Dean, I posted a picture of. He goes, "You need to get a little more heat on those biscuits."
He's a baker. He's a baker. Buzz is.
He's a big baker, and he's an old school baker. But
yeah.
for some reason, I could not get my oven. I wanted to bake those biscuits at 500 degrees in a cast iron skillet, and I could not get that damn range to go over 400 degrees the other day.
Really?
And I'm not sure if I've got something wrong or not a big enough gas pipe or something is not right. So anyway, I went to Steph, and she goes, "Oh, you want to make biscuits in 10 minutes?" I said, "Yep." She goes, "Here's my recipe how to make biscuits in 10 minutes using a Robocoup and use the convection oven at the restaurant." So I'll probably
Did it work?
bake the
Have you
biscuits
done it
at
yet?
the restaurant. I don't know. Haven't
You
done
haven't
it yet.
done it yet? Okay.
That's this afternoon's project after I go out and stand outside and get this hole drilled and this drain replumbed and whatever else comes up in front.
I got to clean the kitchen and do the dishes.
Is it getting
from
warmer?
Everything from the fucking weekend.
You got to clean the dishes and get ready.
I got to clean the kitchen and do dishes from last night's catering. We just dumped it off, and
Why didn't they get done last night? Because it was too damn late.
It was too damn late, and everybody was too damn cold from packing stuff in and out. So
yeah.
It sounded like a good idea then, but it's not now. So
Just send Marla
At least
out.
it's going to
Just
be
yell at
20
her.
degrees today.
Right now
too.
we're on the podcast. Just yell to Marla and say, "Hey, Marla, why don't you run out and rattle some pans, get them dishes clean?" See what she says.
I hope she comes in and
Must
smacks
not.
you in the back of the head.
With a
She
pan.
won't. He won't. He won't
With a
even ask.
Because he
Okay.
knows better.
Anything else relevant that people want to listen to?
Not till next week.
Not till next week. Yeah, we got to figure out how we're going to do that.
We might not. You guys might not find out the recap about Randy's pop-up until the week after.
Yeah,
honestly.
but Randy's going to be busier and shit leading up to it. So we may.
Do you guys
may
just
have to
wanna
work
do an Emma
overtime,
episode?
Emma. You might be editing Sunday night at midnight.
That's fine. It'll buff.
I
don't
really
know if
would
that's
like to
even
do a
overtime.
recap of Randy's, and then the next week maybe
Yeah.
we'll talk about a day in the life of Darren.
Okay.
Which I'd have to figure out what I did.
All right,
What
we
about a
ready
day
to
in the
sign
life
off?
of Emma?
Day in the life of Emma. Isn't that what we're looking at right now?
No.
Ooh. Ouch. I think I'm going to sign off on that note. Whew.
Yeah,
Outta
me too.
here.
She's gonna get pissed at me. She's gonna call her mom, tell her I don't love her. And
Yeah,
then her mom's
that's
gonna
exactly
come down
right.
hard on me. I can see how
My
this
mom-
is going down.
My mom's not gonna take you. She's just gonna. She'll be like, yeah. She'll say some things, I'm sure.
I gotta
but yeah.
talk to her twice this week. It was such a pleasure.
I got to hang out with her yesterday. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
Good
That's
job, guys.
it.
That's
Episode
it.
40 of Cue the Mic. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Cue the Mic Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and X. And then at Cue the Mic Podcast on YouTube, where we would like you to subscribe, like our videos, leave comments, do all the things. Download these episodes so we can get a kind of a good idea of who's listening, how many listeners we have, because Emma's trying to get, a good number. And yeah, that's it.
I'm sure we got a lot more listeners now that Randy's on.
Yeah, right.
I think we do.
Some bitch.
Our listening, actually, since I've come back, our number has gone up, so you're welcome.
Oh, boy. I'm sure.
Oh God.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Boom.
Boom.
Okay,
Boom.
we'll see you
Gone.
guys next week.
Over.